Hello, fellow heroes. I'm Action Smacchan, the twin one hero made up of a virus from the 70s and a guy who likes to play things. And I'm here with my pal,
Blue Infinity 22.
And it's been a really long while. It's been at least a season or two since I got to sit down, slap the record button, and just say, hello, Blue.
Hello, you.
So, Blue, let's go ahead and start the way we always started, just for good old times. Blue, what have you been playing lately, man?
I've been playing the new Pokemon TCG Pocket.
Ooh, okay, yeah. I think I was like watching. They have like some really neat trailers for them, like some teasers, like online.
Yeah.
Like they get really nice animators. Really nice.
Yeah, I've been really like this liking of this kind of thing. I started back with Shadowverse, where a TCG that leans into it being a digital card game specifically is always fascinating to me, because then you can really go into things that you normally wouldn't be able to. Like in Shadowverse, they let you pull in like tokens and like spawn units that wouldn't be in your deck, but because it's a digital card game, it kind of works like that. Where in TCG Pocket, there's a lot of cards that it'll say like you get a random Pokemon from your deck. Like that's very hard to simulate in like real life. So like things like that, and also it doesn't have mulligans whatsoever. You will always start with one basic Pokemon in your hand at the start of a game, and so that also influences your deck build, where if you can guarantee a specific card in that way, you could build your deck around it. But that's also dangerous, where if like you say you just put in one basic Pokemon, so you always start with it, well, if that one Pokemon dies, then you lose the game. So there's a lot of like ways that people will build specifically to cater to it being a digital TCG. But the reason I downloaded it was for the collecting aspect of it, where it's the first TCG game that leans into the collection aspect, where it lets you create binders, it lets you create display cases, it lets you customize your profile to show off certain parts of your collection. It has like a custom Pokedex, like a living Pokedex kind of thing that you can do. And it really leans into the collectors and the joy of like opening booster packs, and it's got a lot of stuff to it. But yeah, it's been very enjoyable. And with the simplified version of the card game PvP, where it's only 20 card decks, it like matches are really fast. So yeah, I've really liked the TCG Pocket, and yeah, and it really does emphasize the artwork, which is usually like kind of something. Yeah, like some people like kind of, you know, they're when you're playing like the TCG in real life, you know, the art is like is nice, but usually it's like the second thing that you would kind of like talk about. Where in this, it's like the full focus is like on like the artwork, the visuals, the illustrations. And again, with it being a digital card game, doing the immersion rares where there's cards you get to go into and like it like shows off scenes. Like it's really nice. Like Mewtwo, there's a card with Mewtwo like jumping out of the card, and when you activate the immersion, you go into it, you go past where he's escaping, looking through the lab, and you see Mew in a tank like escaping. It's so nice. It's such a cool like app, and it's very friendly for like you don't really have to spend a dime because you get 2 packs a day every 12 hours. It's really nice.
Yeah, it sounds really nice, and I do love that they are doing the emphasis on the artwork. Because for me personally, like I love card games largely for artwork.
Yeah, I think that's what was really appealing with Card Fight, right? Like
yeah, like the picture card, takes
like
up.
Card was like
yeah. I don't play a whole lot of card games, but I did play Card Fight because the entire dang card, man, covered with like a nice picture. Yeah.
That's like it was really appealing. Every card felt epic.
Yeah, that's a good word for it. Epic, like Yarn and Kirkus.
Yeah, so that I think it's a very well made app, and I enjoy it a lot.
All right, I'm glad that it's good. I might try it sometime. I don't know. It seems pretty inconsequential if I do.
And it's just fun, like waking up in the morning and just opening up a booster pack, and then like when you lay down there's another one, and then just like doing that. Like that's all I would do for like the first like month before actually playing any PvP. And with it being 20 card deck, it does not take long to get a meta deck at all, because you can only have 2 copies of each Pokemon. So literally just 2 copies, that's it. You don't have to have like a full play set of 4, and 2 cards of a Pokemon is already 10% of your deck. So like it's very easy to make something that will work.
Yeah, no, I'll definitely let you know if I do decide to try it out. But what have I been playing lately? Oh yeah, I've been playing a whole lot of Saga Frontier, the remaster on Switch. Like logically, right?
Yeah.
I'm supposed to really love it because I'm a huge fan of Final Fantasy II. Yeah, it's one of my most controversial fan opinions. Is that Final Fantasy II is a baller game. But since Saga is like directed by the combat designer for 1 and 2 Final Fantasy, logic should say I should love this, and yeah, I did. I ended up loving it.
Good job following the clues.
Yep. But the structure was really interesting. The gameplay, because it did have a whole lot of things reminiscent of Final Fantasy II with the stat grind and just using abilities to improve your stats and learn new abilities of a similar kind. There's that, but the storytelling was really interesting. It was almost like Final Fantasy VI, where you just have a whole plethora of main characters, and you just kind of choose one. Well, I guess you don't really choose one in Final Fantasy VI, but you do definitely choose them in Saga Frontier. And one of the things I really loved is how different the scenarios are for each one, even though they all take place in the same world. Each story just kind of had its own genre going on. You could be like in like just this sci-fi robot story with the robot main character, and you're trying to save the world.
Okay. Yeah. I know what you're talking about now.
Yep. And then there's like a different story where it's just a full-on magical boy fight. You're setting up for a magical boy duel. And that's the entire story.
Famous, was it Super Nintendo that never came here, right? Or was it Sega?
This one, I think, was originally on the PlayStation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But then I'm pretty sure the Saga series itself started outside of that.
Oh, okay. All right, now I'm up to speed.
Yep. Specifically, Frontier was PlayStation.
Locked in. All up to date.
At first, when I started playing it, I was expecting to be all like, well, I think I'll just do like one story. And then I did the one story, and then I was like, okay, that was pretty fun. I had fun grinding. And boy, did I grind. But one of the things that makes it really interesting and, kind of makes you really want to play the other scenarios after the colossal step of beating one of them is if you choose New Game Plus, you get to keep all of your levels and just take it into the next story. So that made going through all of the stories pretty easy in comparison to going through the first one.
Yeah, and I imagine making the hardcore grinding, you said you did a little less.
Yeah, it made it pretty worthwhile.
Yeah. And it helps with people who just want to like enjoy the narrative.
Exactly.
That was like a big reason that people really like that series, from what I remember.
Yeah, the stories were handled pretty well, and the variety is really cool. So overall,
I remember an interview that they said I can't remember if it was like the first one, where they were like very worried about doing the whole multiple story thing. They thought that it was like a little too unconventional, and they were kind of worried how people would take it. And then with it being so successful in Japan, they were like really surprised by it, and it was really well received.
Yeah. But I could understand why people would like try to skip on it, because it is the grind. The grind is real, and progression can be pretty cryptic. But we do live in a modern era. We have decades worth of game FAQs to go through. But also that another mainstay of the Saga series seems to be just the different mechanics for the different races of characters on your party. So like you have things like robots who have stats that depend on their equipment alone, and you just kind of throw on a bunch of weapons, a bunch of dang old armors, some machine specific equipment, and you could just make them busted. It's pretty cool. And it does change the dynamic of, the rest of the characters, where it's all like, well, I have to grind to get good. No, I'm a dang old robot. Give me that super powerful sword and this ridiculous laser gun. I'm good. And then you have the monster classes, which is all it's kind of Blue Mage where you have to get your abilities from monsters, enemies. And then there's mystics that also get their abilities from enemies, and they're kind of Kirby-like, because you just kind of slap an enemy with one of your mystic weapons and you get one of their attacks. But yeah, long story short, I do actually recommend Saga Frontier. There are rumors that Saga Frontier 2 is also getting a remaster, but Square Enix has not actually talked about that officially. But that is something I would be looking out for. But yeah, oh my gosh, like we said, it is the holiday season blue. At least by the time we're releasing this, it's a little bit earlier on the actual side. But temperatures are definitely dropping, and we are getting closer to that time when I buy you a present and and look forward to getting your text message afterwards when the mailman comes. So that is to say, I know that just like me, you're a really big fan of the holidays, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, just factually.
Oh yeah, favorite time.
Definitely the favorite time of the year. And I am no different. I do love the holiday season. I always wanted to try to do some sort of project for the holiday season. That's why I'm even doing the sort of second season of this podcast specifically for the holidays. Which means that we are doing a bunch of holiday related topics for the month of December. Heck yeah. I really cannot imagine another person that I want to do this with other than my man, Blue Infinity.
I appreciate it. Feeling is mutual.
But yes, the very first topic though, since we are in the mood of talking about presents, let's talk about presents for the present year. What are the best Christmas present, or just general present, video game related, whether it's like a game or like a console, that you have ever received? I'll let you go first.
Okay. Probably the one that I never forgot and was actually kind of funny. I remember, so the whole Santa thing, we were told pretty late, it was already middle school by the time, because so my dad was very, very big with holidays. He loved everything related to the holidays, to the point that even the people that he hated the most in his life, he would invite them over during
Oh.
like Christmas Day or Thanksgiving Day to spend the holiday if they didn't really have anyone that they were with, and he would actually like have them here and then never talk to them again for a full year. Like,
Don't get the wrong idea.
Yeah,
But Merry
like even
Christmas.
like people who, yeah, like literally people who would steal from us,
Mhm.
like he would still invite them for only the holiday because they they would always be by themselves essentially. So
Mhm.
that kind of like stayed with me. That kind of like generosity or like the spirit of the holidays. And so there was one Christmas, I think it was like 5th grade going into 6th, that we had actually gotten the GameCube.
Ooh, the
And
GameCube.
and we this was before like I would see gaming magazines or like trailers. Like we would learn about stuff like watching live TV. Like that's how I learned about Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories. Was a commercial on TV, and I was like obsessed with Kingdom Hearts 1 at the time. And so seeing like a new Kingdom Hearts game, like I jumped out of my seat on watching it on TV. And it was a commercial that came on pretty commonly too.
That is true.
And, yeah, you remember?
Yeah, I do remember the Kingdom Hearts trailers that you would actually see on TV.
Yeah, like the Simple and Clean coming on TV.
Yeah.
And so we actually got a GameCube from Santa, I think, when we were in 5th grade. And it was just so exciting. And we got Melee and Luigi's Mansion.
Oh, yeah.
And and we were obsessed with Smash 64 up to that point. And so like seeing a brand new one, like it was like the leap from 64 to Melee was just the most mind-blowing thing you could ever show to a kid. Like just picture in your head Smash 64 and Melee, like just the sheer difference. Like scope is just mind-blowing. And so we were pretty like we weren't like a super wealthy family, and so like typically any gifts or stuff we buy is exclusively at the holidays. But I wouldn't really connect that as a kid. It was just we always just had what we had, and we would rent stuff. That was how we like tried out new games, was just renting for a weekend. So whenever like the argument of Santa happened at school, I would always use that as the gotcha that Santa was obviously real. I remember literally
obviously, where else would I get my GameCube?
Yeah, literally good. So like I remember a car ride specifically where my dad was like saw me that I was kind of like a little annoyed. He's like, "What's going on?" He's like, I was like, "Dad, like everyone at school keeps saying that Santa's not real, but I made sure that I defended it." And he's like, what do you mean? He's like, I told him that like I got a GameCube and like we literally can't afford that, so like obviously he's real. Yeah, and but he saw it. He was like, "Attaboy!" Like
there you go, you did it. Like, you're right, son.
Spirit. Like yeah, like
you kept you kept the magic alive, son.
Literally, yeah. And so like he
even though every part of that statement is false.
Yeah, like I was like, I used it as a gotcha every time. Like yeah, like we couldn't afford it because we were like because he would do the budgets in the open, and so like he was always transparent with us, like where the money was going, how like much debt we still had. And so like he would always hide the Christmas savings that he was secretly doing. Like he would never include that. And so like I was like, yeah, like there's no way. Like so obviously like this whole entire game console and new games and things like that, like there's no way. And so like that was like, it was just such a magical like console experience, and like playing through the Christmas break, like Smash Bros. Melee, and it was like our most played console by the end of my teenage years was the GameCube, hands down.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, like the GameCube is just such a great console, and like that with that Christmas story and like the holiday of me and my brothers playing GameCube like nonstop, and like all of the like fun that we got from that console. And we always associate it with the magic time of family and the holidays, and like a lot of our like friends, like memories that were made on that console, like Animal Crossing, like Kirby Air Ride, Mario Parties, Four Swords, Crystal Chronicles. Like it was always like the multiplayer.
Yeah, it was the best multiplayer console. As long as you're not trying to like play Halo or Call of Duty or something.
And even then, they had Metroid Prime 2.
Yeah, for real.
It was compatible with like I think like a LAN party too. Like it had like a hookup you could do for multiple TVs with it. Like it's just mind blowing. And so yeah, it's just like the GameCube and like all that it came with just from that time. Like that story, like it's one of the most like prevalent Christmases in my head that I can remember. Just because, and also the humorousness. So yeah, I totally owned a kid at school, Dad. Dude was a Santa denier. Couldn't have that shit.
Can you believe this idiot doesn't even believe in Santa? Where's this GameCube supposed to come from?
Somebody got cold one too many times and they pretty peeved. Couldn't be me. I'm Santa's greatest helper right here. I'm the silliest soldier.
I could just imagine you like saying all that and like nudging your dad like, I can't believe this guy.
Am I right, Pops?
And then your dad just winking at the camera.
Yeah. And like I really do like that. It seems like in the last like 5 years, like the magic that is around the holiday season seems to make like a resurgence. Because I remember it used to be just kind of like, going the ropes, but lately like you'd see a lot of people really like enjoying the meme of like the like Goku believing hardcore in Santa, Kirby hardcore like is like the holiday soldier of like good cheer. And so like seeing like the magic of Christmas, even is just like memes and jokes, like it still is like a fun thing that everyone kind of participates in, and really it boosts the holiday season. It's always been a lot of fun.
Yeah, for sure, man. I love the holidays too. And like thinking back, that story that you're telling, if that's when the GameCube was fresh, around 2001, that has to be even before we became friends, right? Because we didn't become friends until it was like late elementary
grade.
Yeah, like fifth grade.
And it was going into 6th grade that we got it, so it was like literally right then.
Yeah. So yeah. Oh.
I remember it was middle school that it was the argument for like Santa ain't real. Like, all right.
that does change the context a little bit.
Yeah,
as 12-year-olds.
We're gonna have to settle this outside. I don't mean with Smash.
And we're not ready to settle this in Smash. We're trying to settle this with facts. Yeah.
Like imagine being a denier. Couldn't be me. So that was mine.
Oh, I love that story. But you know what? I have to go with one that's actually pretty similar in that it is about a console, and it's about me getting my very first console. My very first console that belonged to me, not belonging to the kids, not belonging to my brother or my sister. It was mine. It was when I got the PS1.
Oh.
Yeah, that thing was, and it wasn't like a PlayStation. It was a PS1. It was that sleek, newer model. It was like tinier. It had like the white case. Yeah, with the DualShock, exactly. And boy, did I use that DualShock. I wish I knew where it was right now. But even
it's actually still like mind blowing that was like years into the PlayStation.
Yeah, it was basically the PlayStation Pro.
Yeah.
But yeah, that PS1 was mine, and that just kind of opened the door to a whole lot more like classic games. Last season during the summer, we talked a lot about with Melly. We talked about having played Rhapsody, and that was like a mainstay for like myself and my siblings. That was a real nostalgic game for us. And that was on the PS1. And we only got that game because we were able to play it on the PS1 because we had a PS1, and by we I mean me.
Oh yeah.
And boy, did I ever use that DualShock 1 controller, even like into the PS2 days, because it was still compatible with the PS2.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. It just didn't have like the analog in the face buttons, but like no game used that. I think the only game I could think of that actually used the face button analog was the Star Ocean Till the End of Time. Other than that,
It felt that way towards the controller.
Yeah. Although I do remember the DualShock controller in comparison to the DualShock 2 had a shorter cord, but back in the day we barely cared. I was already like 10 inches away from the TV anyway, because that TV was like 5 inches. Old school TVs. Yeah, we definitely had those tiny ones.
I would still use it all the way up to the 360. I remember the exact day that I like decided I need a bigger TV was when I was trying to play Borderlands 2, and I just could not tell the detail. It was such a detailed game that my tiny little like 10-inch TV.
It's like, this is actually just impossible now.
I literally cannot tell the details, because so much of it would be like, it was very much like, you know, a exploration. So like I'm trying to like look around, and I just everything, and the text is so small because it's just like I can't see anything. So I went and bought a TV 4 times the size.
I must see.
Yeah.
And then you got the TV, you're like, I see everything.
And then the first game I played on it was Street Fighter Cross Tekken. I didn't even do Borderlands first.
Well, you know, I understand. Ling Xiaoyu is not in Borderlands. That is one thing.
Like, man. Yeah, so yeah, small TVs back then.
Just kind of on a side note, then I did get my brother an old CRT for his birthday recently, and the market for those is interesting because they're such a collector's item now.
Yeah, we had 3 still, and I made sure to let my mom know not to get rid
Don't
of them.
throw those away. Yeah. Those are really valuable.
Yeah, and not just that, but like they still have a lot of like hookups that you would need for a lot of her, like she still has a lot of old VHS tapes from like when you know, family members who were still around, and like births. So like she had like these like comedy videos of my dad mocking her while she was like giving birth.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and she's like trying not to laugh while also in agony.
That's like, actually really brilliant. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Like, look, if you're really annoyed, say something. That's a noise. And she's like, yeah, that's where you got your sense of humor from.
Yeah, I was about to say, is I like, oh, Blue Infinity 22, born shit talker.
Yeah. So, yeah, just like all those like magical moments back in the holidays.
That is pretty hilarious, actually. But yeah, going back to the Christmas, me getting my PS1, the very first game we got, or rather, I got, because, you know,
finger guns
that I got. Because, you know, my parents were perceptive enough to be all like, well, it's a system and you need a game to play on it. And boy, was it ever a game. We got Crash Bash as our very first.
Yeah. That's a very interesting first game.
It's definitely a game. Yeah. You know, thinking back when we were playing Crash Bash, I think we also decided to grab like wireless controllers, really old wireless DualShock controllers that probably took like 4 batteries.
Yeah.
Of course, they were like third parties. But we definitely played that Crash Bash, even though I was not even really a Crash Bandicoot fan. Well, I guess that makes sense because I just started owning a PlayStation.
I mean, I can relate to that because like we weren't really Crash Bandicoot fans, but we played Crash Team Racing like beyond any other game on like PlayStation. Like, we were super into it.
Yeah, and
Crash Team Racing was so unique.
Yeah, and at least my brother and I got pretty into playing Crash Bash because, you know, for one, it was what we got, but also it was a pretty different experience. Like, kind of standing on the outside, you'd be all like, oh, so is it like Mario Party but with Crash Bandicoot? And it's kind of not really.
Yeah.
But yeah, really interesting as a first game, and I wouldn't change that for the world, just because it just felt like there was a whole lot of thought. You know.
Yeah.
Just for the fact of my parents just, you know, giving me the console. And I do remember, like, they were really careful in trying to hide it from me. I don't think I would like actively search for it, but it was pretty possible for me to just accidentally happen upon things, because I would be like searching for different things, and when I search for things I check under things, like under the bed.
Yeah, our parents eventually just like made it clear that a specific closet was the gift closet for Christmas, and so we just kind of like knew never to just look in that one closet. And so, but
and we're not hiding it, just know.
Yeah, like it's like, just know it, your stuff's in there. And then we would also kind of they would include us in on it, so like we would start storing our gifts to like our siblings in there as well, because we would know it would be safe. And so then when it was time to wrap presents, our dad or mom would be the one to go in there, collect the stuff we're going to wrap together, and then bring it out, and then we all wrap it together with the door closed. And we would always feel like so excited, like, because even if it wasn't the gifts we were giving, like just having that knowledge as a kid, you're just like, oh man, yeah, you're gonna love this. Oh, it's gonna be so much. I can't tell you, sorry. Come on, you know what it is. No, sorry, can't do it. Like I'm Santa's #1 helper. You'll never get it out of me. Yeah, like we also had that kind of thing as well, with like presents being hidden until eventually like, oh, we're just gonna like just that closet, don't go in.
I remember like my brother would kind of joke around and be all like, "Oh no, that's not that's not PS1 result. That's a bread box."
That oh no, that's just a juicer.
Yeah, it's just a fancy microwave.
Yep. You put the plate in, it's flat, like like a plate.
Yeah. But yeah, do you have any other gifts rummaging around your mind there, Blue?
I do remember another Christmas. It might actually be the last one that I had with like the full family, and it was when we got the Nintendo DS, and our dad kind of knew ahead of time exactly, like, I don't know how it was, but he like knew that the DS was going to be huge. And so he instead put as to like the family, but mainly dad on the thing, so that anytime there was a disagreement, he could pull the "well, it's mine" kind of thing, where when people are like arguing about it. And so we had gotten Partners in Time.
Whoa.
And 64 DS.
Nice.
And then I think like later on we got. Actually, I think we rented Animal Crossing Wild World until eventually buying our own. Yeah, renting a DS game, that was crazy. And so and so I remember like just sitting there and just fascinated by the DS, like the touchscreen, because this was when like laptops were not common yet. Mm-hmm. Like a school would have like one set for the entirety of the school just to like teach how laptops work.
Yeah, with the cart.
And so, yeah, and so like it was just like I loved technology. Like that was when I was really, really into every technology, to the point that like I would even misunderstand what some technologies were. Like Wi-Fi, I thought was a USB, but no, that was just what was giving a non-Wi-Fi compatible device the ability to have it.
Oh.
So like we actually had a router that had wireless functionality, but I never realized it. So we would keep buying the Nintendo Wi-Fi adapter, thinking that that was what was required. And it wasn't like super expensive, like $10 or something, but like it's just like like I was just so fascinated with technology as a kid, and obviously it stayed with me.
Oh, and for sure.
So that was when I was mainly using the computers. I was using the web browsers, like teaching everyone how that worked, and like it was just so fun. Mm-hmm. And like hooking up game consoles, I always thought was like, well, super complex, even though like it's simple, just plugging stuff in. But I used to think like I was like a techie right there. Like, yeah, I know how to hook up the consoles.
That's kind of how it was back then, especially if like your parents need something. But then again, I guess your mom is also probably pretty savvy, right? Too.
Yeah, she was the JRPG person.
Yep. Oh, so cool.
She was the one who had like Legend of Dragoon, all the Final Fantasies.
Freaking Kodelka.
Yeah, Kodelka. Yeah. It's like, wow. And like that was a game that I would always avoid like the play because I couldn't, like I was so bad with horror. Like even now I'm still not good with horror genre.
Understandable. So, it's like, very scary.
As a kid, like I would see it, like I would just see the game and I would just like avoid it because it was so clearly a horror game. So yeah, I was just like, oh well. So yeah, that's one that I do remember was the DS and just like how fascinated I was with it, like all the features, because it was the first time that it was like a like outside of just being games, there was like a other like stuff in it, like the Picto chat, the like music player, and DS download play, like outside of just like holding the A button on GameCube, which was like the most like sophisticated it got, because it never had the Xbox, which would be probably the pioneer for a lot of like onboard stuff. So but yeah, that
really interesting, because like thinking back, you being friends with you made me a whole lot more internet savvy. You would like show me a whole bunch of like, not just show me, but like just include me in like a bunch of like forums back in the day. I definitely got into like watching like online critics, like old school nostalgia critic. What else? Oh, and like the what's it called? Newgrounds.
Oh yeah,
I definitely associate hanging out with you also Newgrounds.
So much creativity. I really think that a lot of like my sense of humor came from there.
Oh like, yeah, without a doubt.
I loved so much. I loved it. Like it was such a that was a place where imagination was literally the limits. It's just so creative, so much fun.
Until the man came and mucked up the internet with his money.
Yeah, I was like, man, Ark and Kerrigan, like Super Mario Bros. Z, all the Zelda parodies. That was the first time I learned what a parody was Newground. What a great time.
Different sort of magic back in the day. And now any joker with a dang old microphone and an anime face and a friend can like make
podcasting wasn't even like you'd have to get like an RSS text feed kind of thing going on. You couldn't make phone calls while on it either.
Just the internet itself as a concept was different back then.
Yeah. So could you blame me that I thought it was a Nintendo adapter to get on Wi-Fi?
Nintendo invented internet, duh.
Yeah. I was just like, look at this, like imagine like this DS connecting to the internet. Like the first time I got to play online, and it was the first time I would use instant messengers, was for like Animal Crossing Wild World from that DS that I got. The first time I met, like I learned of time zones because my cousin was on the West Coast, and so like I'd sit there like pinging, like, come on, get on. It's like 6 a.m. for them.
It's like, geez, come on. It's like 9 in the morning. I already finished watching Foxbox.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just, man. Yeah, what a magical holiday that was.
Oh my gosh, that does bring me back to like the We Speak and with Animal Crossing. Just like the concept that you could make a phone call, talk to somebody with their voice through the power of the internet, through Nintendo.
I like that. And it was even still a Nintendo way of doing voice chat where they used it for the whole room. Like,
yeah, it's like you don't get a microphone in your mouth.
Yeah. Yeah, they were like, no, it's like enjoying like the whole family and like making it a full-on like experience for everyone as opposed to just like solitary. It's such a funny little thing.
Something very Nintendo about that approach.
Yeah.
Off the beaten path. Somehow works.
Yeah.
Let's see here. What else did I get? I also got my Wii U as a present, and that was really interesting because it was like from my sister. It wasn't like from my parents or anything. No, my sister gave me my Wii U. And I know that people are like, you know, the Wii U, maybe not Nintendo's greatest system, but you know what? At the time when I got it, it was a pretty important time in my life when I got it. It's like 2014 or 2013 probably, leading into 2014, because you know that was actually when I was starting university, and you know I grew up basically with the same friend group in the same in the same neighborhood for, you know, the majority of my life at that point, right? Basically my entire life. Because you know the friend group, you're part of it. And so like going to university also meant, you know, taking me from that home, from my friends, and just kind of possibly isolating me. But having my Wii U actually helped me. It wasn't like fully, you know, the thing that got me out, but one of the things that it gave me a little sense of having a social life, a sense of community in college, is that I would join the my college's Smash Bros. I guess club. We were like a club, and then we also had like the esports team, which are basically the same people.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was also when like Smash 4 was happening, and I wanted to be totally ready for that. Of course, I already had my 3DS by then, and even though the 3DS was not a gift, I do have an interesting story for that, but maybe that we could say that for another day. But yeah, the Wii U though, still a pretty important console to me because it was Smash 4, because it was 2014. I was able to make friends. I was able to go to competitions. I mean, granted, I could have done that, but I felt closer to the community because I was able to contribute, you know, a Smash Bros setup. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I was able to contribute the setup, even though I do main Melee, especially back then. I still had a love for like every Smash Bros game, and of course I enjoyed my Smash 4, both on Wii U and 3DS. But yeah, pretty important console to me. Also, I really liked Hyrule Warriors. I know that I'm talking to the Mr. Hyrule Warriors guy, but I did enjoy Hyrule Warriors. I did clock some decent amount of casual time on it.
God, probably easily like 6,000 hours.
And even to that degree, you know, it gave us something to talk about.
Talking to you very similar with, because like I remember it was when I first got my apartment. I was using the Wii U for like literally everything, because it was even the first time I watched Avatar: Last Airbender, because the Wii U was compatible with Prime Video before like almost any other console.
That's right, you could watch things on there.
Avatar. Yeah, because it even used it, like they recommended using it as like your main remote for your TV.
Yeah, that's why it never turned off.
Yeah. So yeah, like and it was I remember we would go to, because I moved to Raleigh, and so that was when the Smash 4 events were happening before they were released, because the 3DS demo first happened and then they were having booths. So I remember bringing home like the wrestling belt that they would have. So yeah, like the Wii U is very similar, where it was like my first time of like independence and like inviting people over, and like I said, like I loved the Wii U. I thought it was fantastic local, like Nintendo Land and Game and Wario, like just so many unique ways of playing that it really is a shame that it wasn't as successful. Because like the unique ways to play, like I still miss some of it. Like Mario Maker is so much better on the Wii U.
Yeah, because you actually have the stylus and the tablet screen.
Yeah, I would even like cope and hope I could use a stylus with the Switch undocked. Just like, Oh man, yeah, I love the Wii U.
Yeah,
And
I still think it's a pretty
very good.
quality console. It just didn't get the attention that it needed, both from
Yeah, I mean, obviously the games were really solid since like they are super successful, having been re-released on the Switch.
Oh yeah, just like objectively, they were good
Yeah.
games. It's just the market at the moment, I guess, for the Wii U
Yeah.
wasn't there.
Nope.
But yeah, I really appreciated that present. And I guess it was my sister's way of kind of flexing her nursing money.
I mean, we'd love to see it.
Yep. So
I mean, honestly, like it's a really cool thing too when like you have like an income like that, and that you can really like show like some really cool support for like family, friends, and really get to give something a little more special.
Yeah. And she did drop a pretty nice stack of games along with it. It gave me like I think it was New Super Mario Bros. U.
Ooh.
It was like the Luigi one.
Oh wow, that you weren't kidding on how late it was.
Yeah. And what else? I think I also had Super Mario 3D World along with it.
It's such a great game.
Yeah.
I loved Miiverse in that game.
But yep. Really cool present. Much love for it. Underappreciated console.
Oh, definitely.
But you could also say that about like the GameCube. Underappreciated.
Yeah.
But super duper loved today, even from people who owned it. But yeah, still any other gifts hot on your mind there, Blue?
The last one that I can think of is so it wasn't Christmas, but it was when I can't remember what was the celebration. It might have been birthday, or it could have just been like a summer gift that the parents just really wanted to do. But we came home from school, and my mom's just standing in the middle of the living room. I think you had a similar story. I think I remember telling you this before. And she's just standing in the living room smiling, and she's like, there's something around here that is that you need to find. And so we're just looking around. Yeah. And so like I'm just like it felt weird. Like it's one of those like you're like kind of more paranoid than you are like, like excited.
It's like what is it supposed to be?
Yeah.
What kind of surprise am I dealing with today?
Yeah. It's like, I'm sorry, by the way, just in case. Like, I apologize for whatever it is. And so like we're looking around, and underneath one of our rocking chairs was a plastic bag, and when I look at it, it's a Ocarina of Time and Quest 64.
Yo.
Yeah, and like we were just absolutely like jumping up and down because like Link to the Past was huge with us, and honestly, like in retrospect, it's like probably mom also really wanted it.
This is also for me. that was part of her smile. Interesting haul. I do like that story. Yeah, let's see here, and I do want to share one more, and it's pretty recent. This is last year, actually.
Wow.
So at the time, I'm a pretty big Tales of fan, right? But for the most part, our Tales games belonged to my brother. But I am my own Tales fan as well. So that year, even though my bank account was all like, you need to not, but me and my stupid obsessive brains all like, I must try to collect all of the Tales of games. At least the ones that came out in the US.
Yeah.
And for the most part, most of them, if you have the consoles, you can do it. But the biggest hurdle was definitely the ones on the PlayStation 1. Because those are pretty stuck on the PS1 as far as the US releases, not digitally at all.
Yeah.
And I was able to do Tales of Eternia, which came out as Tales of Destiny 2 for us. I was able to buy that on the PSP as a European copy, because the PSP is actually region free. But the biggest hurdle was definitely after being able to get Eternia on the PSP. Tales of Destiny 1 is not available on anything other than PlayStation 1 in English. So that is a good 180, maybe even 200, depending.
Oh, wow.
But my brother was able to get me a loose copy of it for Christmas.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And, just because I have so much history with him and the Tales of series, it does mean a lot to me to have that gifted to me, especially, since at the time I was triple extra broke.
Yeah.
Me and my horrible endeavors of wanting to be an anime girl whose lore is we don't have a job and we don't have money.
Yeah, you don't stand out from the rest of them.
But also I wanted to collect all the Tales games.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I still try to collect a lot of these games, just to really have them and share them like that. I spent a lot of time when moving to try to organize so many things to be able to share. I remember in another thing with the Wii U, it was the first console that my sisters played.
Ooh, that's another big up.
Yeah, and so Nintendo had when they released Amiibos, they released a game on the Wii U that Amiibos unlocked a classic 8-bit game, or the first game related to that Amiibo.
Mm-hmm.
So it was the first time my sisters got to experience the original Donkey Kong Country, the original Nintendo games, and they were just fascinated by them. But they would always think that they were Wii U games.
Mm-hmm.
So then just very simple Wii U games, and so it was very interesting having a lot of these classic games to collect and share and get to show a new generation and your family.
Yeah.
So just another thing that the Wii U did with our household.
Yeah, and kind of extending off of that does remind me of another social aspect of me in college and having a Wii U. There was the Amiibo collecting back then, and I did make a pretty good friend at the time collecting Amiibo. We would send each other alerts and be all like, dude, I found this one. I already have one, but you could try to get this one kind of thing, which was pretty cool. We even eventually went to Miku Expo together on a trip, and we hit up in New York. We went to what's it called, the Nintendo store. But pretty good times. But yeah, just again, the Wii U was a really interesting social key for me, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Yeah, but even my aunt, who didn't really do any video games, loved Amiibos for whatever reason, and so she would also get into really collecting them.
Yeah.
And importing them from Germany, and she just got really into it, and she even used it for my birthday. Used it as a cake topper.
Ooh, oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Because it's basically the same, but cooler.
Yeah. So, yeah. She didn't set it on fire as a candle, though.
Smart. But yeah, I think that's the last story I have, because I did tell the story about how I got Kirby's Air Ride in another episode.
Yeah.
I think that might have been the one you were alluding to a little bit ago. That was kind of similar to how your mom gave you your present. But yeah, for those who want to know more about that, go to whichever episode that was last season.
The best episode.
Of course, it's the one with the blue in it.
You mean Gooey?
Of course, naturally. The one where I talk about Kirby's Dream Land 3.
And Blue Archive, the best Kirby game.
Yeah, Blue Archive, the best Kirby game. Oh my gosh, I didn't even mention Blue Reflection today, did I?
Yeah, right. Did I say Blue Archive?
Yes.
That's so funny.
Clearly, Blue needs to go back and review the episodes.
I need to reflect on it.
Blue needs to reflect.
I need to check the archive to reflect on my mistake.
But oh my gosh, Blue, it has been a true gift just to have these memories shared with you.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's been very fun thinking back on everything.
Yep, for real, for real. But I do think we need to go ahead and wrap up this episode. Blue, if people need to know more about Blue Infinity 22, where can they find you?
I've started streaming a little bit more often over on twitch.tv or on my YouTube. I stream to both of them, so whichever one is more preferable.
Oh, sick.
I've been doing a lot of like archipelagos, multi-worlds, and like kind of speedrunning randomizers a bit.
And I will join you one day when I fix my memory issues on my laptop.
No worries.
But yeah, also if you enjoyed this podcast, go ahead and give this video a like and subscribe to the Pixel Smacchan channel if you're listening over on Spotify. Go ahead and rate this podcast 4 stars, because I found out recently that's what you're supposed to do with podcasts. Well, anyway, thank you all so much for being here, and I will see you in the next holiday packed adventure.